I'm coming to you live from the cave, the teenage cave, my daughter's room. It's really dark in here, a little musty. Hopefully, I make it out alive. It's a little grainy, I think, because it's so dark in here. So let me see if I can open up the blinds. Oh, by the way, today's shirt. If you know what this comes from, send me an email of what show it is and what this reference is. So that's your challenge for today's hidden gem. I'm trying to open up the window, shed some light on the situation. Oh, is that better? Oh, so much better. Sometimes I swear she's like a cave troll or something, and I'm just this hobbit eating a second or third breakfast. Okay. All right. Good morning. I don't have tea today because it's Friday and I want to be done. And next week is spring break. Woo! Spring break. So I'm going to be all about that. I'm going to be, I don't know, like, what am I going to do for spring break? Nothing, because I'm stuck at home. Maybe I'll do something cool, like set up the tent in the backyard and camp out there with my kids and see what happens. Maybe I'll even invite my husband. I don't know. So what do you have planned? Send me an email. Let me know. By the way, I emailed all of you and your parental figures because the district wanted to send out this form email. And I'm sure your parents received a ton of them and are sick of seeing them. But it's important information about when our office hours are for what's going on right now, up through April 24th. The big question I've had that Micah, shout out, emailed to me was, what's going on with May 4th? Well, as you know, May the 4th is a holiday for me. So that's really tough for me to deal with. If you don't know, it's a day where I have to get out my lightsaber and I will be binge watching a bunch of Star Wars movies, probably. Maybe make some Star Wars themed snacks. Oh, wait. Her question was about, because the that one person that's in charge of things, the governor, he said something about places being shut down until May 4th, all non-essentials. And so wondering, hey, are we going to be shut down until then? We don't know. As of now, until we hear from the state superintendent of public education, which he's usually at those press conferences with the governor. So that's what we want to be looking for. Remember when school was shut down while we were at school and they had the press conference? He was that guy there. Anyway, he's the one that makes the call for public schools. So if they're going to shut us down longer than past the 24th of April, he's the one that would have to announce that. So we'd have to hear from him, and we have not. So as far as we're concerned at the school, we're still planning on being back April 27th until we hear otherwise. I wouldn't be surprised if something comes through, but again, we have to wait to get that official notification. It's just the way it is. What else? Okay, so I sent out that email. My office hours are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday from 8 to 11. I want to get my stuff done in the morning. That's how I am. I want the afternoon to do other things, be available for questions early on. AP, I'm done with grading as of now, unless you turn something in today. 10th graders, I just have a little tiny pile of like late assignments or people were absent and handed in to me right before we were shut down. So I'm going to try to get through those this afternoon, so that way all my grading is up to date going into spring break. And we come back from spring break fresh with these choice boards Do I know what those look like that you guys are going to be doing after spring break? Kind of. I know what choice boards are. They're commonly used in education. They can be really cool, actually, because they give you some choice over what you do for your learning. But I haven't actually seen them yet, so I don't know what's on them for English and what they're going to be asking you guys to do or practice. I know that they are, as of now, not graded, but we will give you guys feedback on it. Did you guys ever hear the story about my daughter's minion? There he is right up there. He's gigantic. And he's filled with like those beans that you get in bean bags. She won that in Las Vegas at Circus Circus. Oh, yes. We went there, gosh. It was 5 or 6 years ago because we're on our way through to go to Disneyland. And we were driving through and we stayed at Circus Circus overnight. We're like, well, we have the kids with us and it's, a little bit more family friendly because they've got all the games and all that stuff. So that's where we stayed, even though it's really stinky hotel. But it was fine. My daughter went to one of those things that has the milk jugs with all the rings, the plastic rings, and you're supposed to get it to go onto the milk jugs. And it's like virtually impossible because you would have to like perfectly place it. Like it is a very tight fit. They're all rigged, you know that, right? All those fair games. Anyway, they're not quite fair, you could say. Oh, I need to go back to work. Okay, like in front of people. I'm going to start making more and more puns as we go. Anyway, we were there and she was what? She's 17 now. So she was 11, 12, something like that. Anyway, so she wanted to play that game and I was like, okay, here, say goodbye to my $5 or whatever, however much it was. She goes up there and there's a crowd of people around this whole table full of these milk bottles and they're all throwing the rings and she's just like ping, 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 ping. You see all them flying around, ping, ping, ping. None of them are getting on there, ping, ping, ping. And I'm watching my daughter. I'm standing behind her because there wasn't room right next to her. And I look and suddenly I see her yellow ring she had and she just tossed it. She wasn't even paying attention. She was just throwing like I don't even think she knew what she was doing, honestly. Threw it. Boom, right on the milk jug. Right on it. Right on it. I've never seen somebody do it. Anyway, so I was like, what? Did that just happen? So I had to get the attention of the like teenagers working the little booth thing because they weren't even paying attention to notice that someone actually won. So I had to flag one of them down and go, hey, she just got it. And they were like, oh my gosh, they were surprised. They were shocked. So it tells me that they even know that it's pretty rigged and that nobody ever wins. And so she had wanted to play that because they had Giant Minion as one of the prizes. Keep in mind, and I'm sorry if my computer shorts out or anything. Keep in mind, we're on our way to Disneyland. We're starting our vacation. She wins Giant Minion on our way. Okay, this is just an overnight stay. We are in my Ford Focus. A Ford Focus is a little 4-door sedan, not very big. Our trunk is packed with all of our luggage. I didn't think she was going to win. And now I had to find a place to put this. And she was so proud of herself, so excited, so proud. We ended up having to wedge that stupid Giant Minion like in the back window the rest of the trip to Disneyland, to Redondo Beach, all the way back to Idaho. That's stupid. So it's still around because, I mean, this is a legacy. That's her college tuition right there. I already sacrificed enough for her. So that's it. Giant Minion. Not getting rid of it. Okay, not gonna do it. What else is going on? So in my email, I also sent out reminders that I'm gonna keep putting things on Canvas. And I think that's it. I think some of you 10th graders if you have something missing, that some people were still working on redoing assignments or getting those to me. So make sure you continue to do that. I'm going to do my 14,000 things to be happy about so that I can then say goodbye to 10th graders and then talk about AP, because AP came out with a ton of information today, which I'm also going to be emailing out separately to parents and students. So hang tight for that, AP kids. We're just going to do this really quickly. All right. I don't need this today because it's Friday right before spring break, and maybe I'm happy enough about that. I don't know. We'll still try. Okay, here it goes. Here it goes. Here it goes. Here it goes. What is it? What is it? What is it? Digging out an old family recipe. Finally something that makes me happy. Finally. You should know I, 1, love to cook. 2, love to eat things that I cook. And 3, I get really nostalgic about like old family stuff and traditions and all of that. So that makes me feel warm and fuzzy on this Friday, even though it's cold and gloomy outside. And I still need to go on my run for today and run a couple miles. Ugh. But whatever. All right. So that's my thing to be happy about. If I were to get out an old family recipe today, which one would it be? I think it would have to be bringing in a little bit of our Christmas tradition and having my great-grandmother's Scottish shortbread recipe. I made it this past Christmas, and you actually use real lard and sugar and flour, and that's pretty much it. I think a little bit of salt to make the shortbread. I love shortbread. I could eat it all the time. And I would probably weigh 600 pounds if I did that. So that's it for today for the fun stuff. Now I'm going to be moving on to AP things. AP, we got some answers. I guess there was a video last night. You could get a preview, a sneak peek at 7 p.m. last night. I wasn't about to do that last night. Sorry. So I just waited until today for the news. Some people, I just don't think have anything better to do with their lives right now. So here's the update. You're going to be doing an online exam if you're doing the exam. It is one question that got clarified. I was pretty certain it was going to be just one question. Okay, because they said it'd be 45 minutes and there was going to be no multiple choice. Okay, so there's going to be one essay you write in 45 minutes. Okay, and we now know that it is a rhetorical analysis prompt. We don't know what passage because that's always blind. They're working on it right now. We've been working on rhetorical analysis all year. So I think this is like, whew, great, good. We know the strategies, devices, techniques that are used. We talked about SpaceCat a lot, but I think we're going to be needing to reinforce those things. So I'm going to be posting more things about rhetorical analysis. I actually moved our section on rhetorical analysis in Canvas up a bit, so it would be right there toward the top. The other thing is this exam is going to be open note, open book. That's crazy. Crazy. Now, you only have 45 minutes, so you can't really waste your time, though, with your notes. I mean, that's one thing to remember with this is that, you know, we've worked on these note cards that you guys took for all these devices. Well, they're not going to do you any good if you're spending 10 minutes flipping through those to try to find something. However, it is kind of nice because you'll be able to have something to go back to. Have some other resources available in case you get stuck. The other thing is, I don't think you're going to be able to print it off. I think you're going to have to annotate, if you're going to annotate on the screen. That's kind of unclear right now. You're going to be able to upload your response or write responses by hand and submit a photo via your cell phone. Let's see what else. There will be 5 minutes for uploading added to the 45 minutes. You'll need to access the online testing system 30 minutes early to get set up. So you'll be signing in ahead of time. Now, our exam is supposed to take place, our AP exam schedule I'll also be sending out. Language and Comp is supposed to be Wednesday, May 20th, and it's supposed to be at 11 a.m. on that day. So if we're back in school, then from what I understand, we're going to be doing that at school. Miss McPherson sent out an email while I was starting this video, so there might be some more answers from her there. If there are, be on the lookout for that with the email I'm going to send after this video. I'm going to put together an email to students and parents with links to the College Board information that they've uploaded today, just to make it easier for you to find all these details. Hopefully your other AP teachers are telling you that if you're in multiple classes. So, I mean, that's good that we have that information now. But ours is specifically one free response question, rhetorical analysis. So here's the things I would suggest. If you haven't already watched the AP YouTube videos and actually done the lessons with them, like where you actually write the stuff when they tell you to write it and practice it, go do that. They've given you free resources, free tutorials to go over that to help make it clear for you. Because sometimes it is good to hear how another teacher teaches how to write these things. Maybe the way I've taught it to you or talked about it doesn't make sense to you still. For some of you, you're doing fine and you're getting there. Here's the big thing I've noticed in still looking at work overall on rhetorical analysis. And I'll probably repeat this again in a separate video specifically for AP. You need to keep in mind all the Space Cat stuff, and you need to see how all of those are interrelated, all the different parts. That is so pivotal. What I'm seeing a lot of right now is still people writing fragmentedly. You're taking different aspects of a person's writing that you're analyzing, and you're keeping them separate and not talking about how one thing plays off of another, or how these choices that an author make help them reach their purpose with this particular audience. And how maybe the circumstance, the context of when they were writing this piece plays into that as well, and those choices that they're making. I get a lot of things like, oh, they use this technique to get this to stick into the reader's mind. That is the most boring, bland explanation I read it all the time. Of course, figurative language, hopefully paint some picture, but who cares? Why do they do it? Why is that important? How does that actually affect their overall purpose? Is it compelling? Does it make a great comparison when somebody uses a metaphor or a simile? Does it help make something that seems really not a part of their life or experience more relatable and something they can understand? For example, Martin Luther King Jr., we did Letter from Birmingham Jail, and he talks about the experience of the injustices in the Black community that they faced. If I were a white minister in Birmingham at the time, okay, segregated South, do I really have a concept of how it feels to live with those injustices? No, I don't. I might think I have some concept of it, but I don't really understand it. So for me, you've got to connect it all together. You've got to say, okay, well, he used metaphor because this is something they could understand, and he compares it to something he doesn't think they quite understand. And by that comparison, he's able to try to convince them. And the thing he chooses to compare it to, okay, so this is the unknown, this is the known, is something they probably also respect and look up to, or brings about certain emotions and has an emotional pull to it that then ties to this. and really makes them feel that empathy. So that's what I'm talking about. You've got to think about it on those levels of, why did this person write this? Who are they actually writing to? And what were they trying to gain? Or what are they trying to do with this? And then how did they write it? How did they put it together? This piece of communication, this piece of art, and what techniques did they do to put that together? And that you can pick that apart and say, look, they did this here. Here's why I think they did it. And this is why it's so effective in doing this overall thing. So remember the cat of Space Cat? That's really the minutia of the piece. And the space, just think about our space. It's vast, it's gigantic. It's got all of these things out there, just like the speaker, the purpose, the audience, the context, and the exigence is like this overarching thing. And then within that are the details, which is our cat. Choices, appeals, and tone to help make that up. Just imagine a cat floating through space. Oh, yes. So magical. Don't worry, I'll keep mentioning those things. So I'm going to email you guys all this information. Keep in mind, my tutorials that I do for you guys from here on out are all going to be based on rhetorical analysis until I really feel like we have enough materials there. Also, last thing, I put in all of the released I've been giving you guys access to the free response questions and multiple choice questions through AP Classroom. Only about 2 people per class are actually accessing those and doing them. So I don't know if those are just the 2 people per class that are still planning on taking the test, or I don't know what's going on. I don't know why you want to practice, but you might be busy with life. I don't know. So I've released those. Today is the deadline for a bunch of them because I just wanted to be able to see where you guys are at and see if I could bring in some other activities moving forward. Now, I don't know what the choice board from the district looks like at this point for AP. I might not know till we get back from spring break. So don't anticipate anything until then. However, if you still want to do those MCQs and FRQs that are on AP Classroom, log in and try them out. That's why they're there, is to help you get additional practice. To break it down into smaller skill sets. The MCQs are still important. You might be like, well, if there's no multiple choice on the test, why would I want to do that? Because you still have to read and you still have to analyze as you read. And the types of questions they ask are still ones that are probably beneficial to you going forward into the exam with a rhetorical analysis. So even though it seems like, hey, we're not doing that exam type, there's still a benefit there, which is why I've released some of those. So anyway, I've taken those things I've released and put them in Skyward as a miscellaneous in the miscellaneous category. So right now, a bunch of you will probably see zeros and missing. They don't count for or against your grade. It is only a way for me to communicate to you and to your parents whether or not you've been taking advantage of some of those online things that I've provided. I'll probably do the same thing with the online submission of essays to me, because I've had one person submit an essay for feedback. I will also note the people doing them on AP Classroom, I leave you written feedback. I put in there, why I gave you the score that I did, and I actually have scored their writing. I don't leave comments on the MCQ because it automatically scores. But those doing those practices are getting oftentimes a huge chunk of feedback from me. Lastly, the other thing to check for feedback, those of you that did the online submissions for the letter from Birmingham jail, if it was online, I was able to leave you a bunch of feedback in Canvas. So I did that for those that submitted online. A bunch of you from first period, didn't submit your work that I stamped for a letter from Birmingham jail. Remember, you either did Space Cat or you wrote an essay. I noticed a bunch of zeros there, and I'm betting it's because that Thursday we got closed down. It was your last day to work on your poster. Well, we didn't know we were getting closed down at that point. And I forgot to remind you, I think, to turn that in. I'm just thinking back to a couple weeks ago. So anyway, if you have a 0 on that and you have your paper with you that I stamped, take pictures of both sides, make sure I can actually read it, and email it to me, and then I'll give you credit for that. because I know it's one of those I went through and just stamp checked, and then you had it with you to work on your poster with your group. So I know some of you probably still have it on you because I grabbed all the papers from the classroom when we got closed down. So I've graded all of those for you guys. So I think that's it. So we know where we're going with the exam if you're taking it. If you're not, I still suggest you try out some of those practices, because if we go back to school and are meeting together again, that's where I'm going to pick up from. So it'd be in your best interest to do as many of the supplemental things as you can to make sure you're where your peers are at and that you're not at a disadvantage. If you're having issues or problems personally or at home, make sure you email me, let me know, let your teachers know. We would rather know earlier rather than later if there's something we can help you with and support you on. If you have questions, just email me. If you have questions of content or about the exam or anything like that, just shoot me an email, and I will see you guys in over a week. So I'll be back on the 13th with videos and communication. But after this afternoon, it'll be kind of lights out for Mrs. Thomas. She's going to take a break and get herself focused again and take time for me and my family. So have a fabulous spring break. Keep reading, keep being curious. May the force be with you, and it's been a while. Live long and prosper.